Good evening. We're gonna get started 7 p.m. We'll start with the roll call.
Commencing roll call. Vice Chair George Salmon. Councilmember Kathleen Dowd. Here. Councilmember Eduardo Rodriguez. Councilmember Niket Searcy. Councilmember Brooks Esser.
Here.
Councilmember Blair Whitney.
Here.
Councilmember Kelly Parisi. Councilmember Beatrice Orozco. Chair Juan Carlos Prado. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you and welcome to our last regular meeting of this calendar year. A brief announcement. We do have an interpreter joining us this evening.
To the chair.
Oh, we do not yet. Maybe not officially, but somebody needs one. I belong to it.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So now we'll move to our public comments. Does anyone have a public comment on a topic not on the agenda?
It is now time for general public comment. If you would like to make a public comment, please bring a speaker slip to the clerk during this time. For those of you joining this meeting online, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. Each person will be granted 2 minutes to speak. Does anyone have a public comment? No public comments. Back to you, Chair.
You. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Second. Roll call. Aye.
Motion.
All right, and this evening we want to welcome our new council member, Beatriz Orozco. So welcome to the council. Officially. Are there any questions from council members? Or any other public comment? Yes.
Did we appoint 2 new members? One, but was there another one on the supervisor agenda? I think that it looked like there were 2 appointees.
There is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
Kelly,
was-
Kelly,
Yes.
All right, thank you for.
yeah, and we will reopen for new members. We'll continue to start bringing members as well as bring students, because we have not had a student in a while. So I am aggressively recruiting and those with that. So I'm very optimistic that in January, when we start the new calendar year, we will have more participation.
If you would like to comment on agenda item number 4, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. Do you have any public comment? No public comment. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, we will move along then to our agenda item 4. Or 5, which is the proposed garbage rate changes, including 2 North Oaks residents. Are there any questions from council members?
Yes. So I believe it's going to be Anthony and Regina via Zoom. They'll be presenting. Anthony, can you hear us? Regina?
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. Anthony, are you on?
Yep, I'm on. For some reason, my video is not connecting, but I can hear and see you guys.
Do you want to try to send the presentation to me and I can try once as well? So good evening, everyone. I'm Regina Wheeler. There we go. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Regina Wheeler, Program Manager for Special Districts, and I'm here tonight with Anthony Guerrera. He's my colleague here at the County of San Mateo, and we are here to speak with you about the proposed garbage rate changes for 2025. So we greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you about these proposed changes. We went to the board in November to speak with them about these changes, and they would be going again in January for formal approval. So I will hand this over to Anthony, who will go through the presentation, and then we would like to address questions at the end, and we can go back to the slide and go back to specific portions of it if you have detailed questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Regina. So hi, everyone. My name is Anthony. I've been with the Sustainability Department for 2 years, and then 2 years prior to that, I had a gap. But yeah, I'm here to share a little bit of information on the garbage rates. And this slide right here just shows the different areas that we manage. The areas in orange are the county franchise area, also known as CFA. The red areas, of course, North Fair Oaks. These two pockets or these two jurisdictions are part of the SBWMA, which I'll describe in the next slide. So Rethink Waste, also known as South Bayside Waste Management Authority, SBWMA, is a joint powers authority formed by 11 local jurisdictions. The county is one of 11 member agencies, and our roles include these 5 items here. So we set rates annually. By doing that, we analyze SBWMA reports and determine the rate adjustments, often working with a consultant that specializes in solid waste. We also ensure contract compliance. So we make sure that Recology, the hauler, remains fully compliant with the terms outlined in the franchise agreement, which include things like service quality standards, adherence to local and state regulations, reporting, transparency, and financial accountability. We also make program recommendations and conduct special events, such as the shredding events. We have one actually planned for 2025 to be held at the North Fair Oaks Community Council. Or no, sorry, Community Center. We also manage customer feedback regarding services. So, it's not too often, but we do get, callers into to our hotline with issues on, collections or missed pickups. And what we do there is work with both, the ratepayer and also Recology to find solutions. And like I said earlier, we are one member of the 11 member agency, which is the SBWMA. So each year, what we do is the SBWMA publishes reports on revenues and cost services, and each one is, or there's a few reports, but it's all split up by member agencies, and the cost adjustments are made for changes to consumer price indexes, labor rates, and fuel costs. Surpluses and shortfalls are also reviewed and identified in the reports. We then get those reports, and the county conducts an independent analysis of rate recommendations, and we often work with our consultant, which we did this year as well. The final rate recommendations are then proposed to the board for adoption, which is happening in January on the 14th. So to explain where we landed on with next year's proposed rate increase, we kind of have to take things back 1 year ago. So last year we were faced with a major increase due to the new Shoreway operations agreement. In the SBWMA report, it indicated for a 19.3% recommended increase for North Fair Oaks. To reduce the impact to ratepayers, the SBWMA report or the SBWMA board voted to use a one-time rate stabilization fund to reduce the increase to 16.9. It reduced costs to all member agencies. The county then evaluated and identified a strategy to further reduce the rate increase to residential and commercial customers. The Board of Supervisors approved the county to exercise a cap carry forward provision with Recology. What this does, it caps certain indexes and adds the balance to the next year, which is this 2025 rate year. We also applied a 2021 surplus to buy down the rate. And lastly, the board approved a 2-year approach where a 12.7 rate increase was applied for 2024, and the remaining costs were to be applied the following year, which is this year coming up, 2025. So for this year, 2020 or next year, 2025, the SBWMA report indicated a 11% rate increase is necessary for North Fair Oaks. This includes the deferred cost from last year and will match the revenues to the expected projected costs. So this adjustment will conclude the 2-year phase-in approach that was approved last year and will lessen the rate increase requirements for next year and the following year, just because we're matching our revenue to the expected cost. So there won't be any expected shortfalls for next year. So what it looks like to the actual, container sizes and monthly rates. This is the table that shows that the proposed rates for 2025 is an 11% rate increase for residential dwelling mandatory services, which is the 2 32-gallon or 1 64-gallon cart. And for commercial services, it would be the 11% as well. So this would be for a 64-gallon cart. What we're looking at is a $4.56 per month increase, which represents approximately a $54 per year increase. And this slide highlights the collection services and additional services available to the customers that which they're paying for. So for residential, it's curbside collection of garbage, recycling, and organics. For commercial, it's collection of garbage and recycling. Organics is at a discounted cost. It's not as expensive as garbage, but there's a discount to that. There's also disposal fees and handling, so the tipping fees, taking that material to Shoreway, processing it, processing the recycling. Also the 2 on-call bulky waste collections for residential customers. Collection of other items at the curb, such as used motor oil, oil filters, Christmas trees, illegal dumping where it's identified. And also the shredding events that are put together annually. We kind of switch these around between CFA and North Fair Oaks. So 2025, we're planning to have one in North Fair Oaks. And then also the drop-off of items at Shoreway Environmental Center, which includes recycling items like bottles and cans, also paints, mattresses, cooking and motor oil, electronics, and small appliances at no cost. And this is just kind of like a reminder that we do have requirements for the county under SB 1383, which is requirements for residents to participate in the organic curbside collection. Also, residents are required to sort properly into the correct containers. For businesses, they're required to subscribe to and participate in their organic collection curbside services or self-haul their organic waste to certified facilities. And some businesses are also required to participate in an edible food recovery program. And much of this work is being conducted by Recology. They're out there doing, besides this, they're doing route audits, and they have their Waste Zero specialists out, in the field, getting people to sign up and sort properly, doing presentations and things like that. And we'll be happy to take questions right now, but here's our contact information if you guys want to save it, and you could feel free to email myself or Regina or call the sustainability department for any questions.
Thank you. We will then move to any council members with any questions or comments, please.
Hi, Anthony, it's Kelly Parisi. I had a question on the slide that is in the appendix of this, which is the history of rate increases, specifically the breakdown between residential and commercial. I noticed that through 2017 through 2020, residential rates went up year over year, but there was no increase for commercial. So one slide that I didn't see is what the cost for commercial versus residential is currently proposed for the 2025 season. And if you could give me some historical context as to why for 4 years only residences were subject to a rate increase.
Yeah, so for the full table of proposed rate increases, we're posting that one online to our website tomorrow. We're sending out the Prop 218 notices to property owners next week, informing them of the proposed rate increase. But that proposed rate tables with all of commercial services will be up online tomorrow. So that's for the rates. And then as far as the why certain years we only increase residential and not commercial is for North Fair Oaks, commercial subsidizes residential services. So if you look at the true cost of service for residential, 32 gallon, 64 gallon, 96 gallon, it's below the actual true cost. So it's so one way to kind of get closer to that true cost of service for residential is increasing the residential rates without touching the commercial rates. And this can only kind of happen when in certain years where we just see kind of like CPI increases from Recology and from Shoreway Environmental Center for processing. So that's why you kind of see that for 2017, 18, 19 and 20 is just trying to get closer to that true cost of service and kind of lessen the subsidy.
And I don't know if it's totally subsidizing. I think some of it was also because of the state mandates. So as we started to do mandatory commercial recycling, mandatory organics recycling, which was happening in the years where we started to only do one rate over the other. As that happened, we started to change our rate structures because it made every single commercial and multifamily property have to change what types of services they gave at properties. And we're still doing that, because not everyone has organic service at their property. So as we're doing that sort of changes operationally, how many trucks we have out, how many containers we have out. So as we're doing that, we're constantly sort of adjusting services and looking at operationally routes and things like that.
One follow-up question. So in the old deck that will be listed tomorrow, that will be the rate breakdown for residential and commercial.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Let's,
Hello, guys, thank you. Two questions. When you are showing these increases and are you talking specifically about North Fair Oaks, or are the other unincorporated areas facing the same rate increases? Or is it just you're presenting for North Fair Oaks? And if it's just for North Fair Oaks, I'm wondering why.
This rate increase is just for North Fair Oaks. For county franchise area, the orange area of the map that I showed at the beginning, they have different costs and services, and that it's a whole different rate increase.
But every agency that's part of the South Bayside Waste Management Authority, which I believe is 10 or 11 different agencies, they all are having to change or increase their rates right now due to increasing costs. So of course, the other part of the county is also going to have to look at redoing their rates as well, which we are taking to the board at the same time. So it's because of the regional agency that we're part of, SBWMA, those costs are changing and increasing at the same time for all of those member agencies.
Okay. We're also North Fair Oaks probably the lower paid of those areas, lower income than any of the other areas. So I would just like to make sure that we're not North Fair Oaks is not carrying the burden, that those rate increases seem somewhat fair, because I also would like to know, does the city of Menlo Park, does the city of Redwood City, does Atherton, are the rates for North Fair Oaks pretty comparable to other city rates? Is this kind of fair across the board? I'm just curious to know if you have any historical data or know what they pay for the same services.
So the rates are all determined, from my understanding, based upon it's our contribution to the Joint Powers Authority. Those rates are all separate. That is a contribution that we're making to the Joint Powers Authority, whereas our basic rates were determined before that. So our rates are going to be different than each agency's, like Menlo Park rates were before they joined the JPA, which is what the SBWMA is. So each agency will have their own garbage rates hypothetically before they join a Joint Powers Authority. So we don't all come in and make garbage rates. You would have rates or you would have fees before you get into that agency. So you all have your own fees that you're contributing to that Joint Powers Authority. And that fee is set based upon the population and the number of households for each agency. So that is how those fees are determined. And that's how they distribute the fees based on population for each participating agency.
Okay, that brings me to a bunch more questions, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to answer them tonight, but I'm just wondering, was it in the best interest of North Fair Oaks to be a part of that Joint Powers? And yes, it's a highly populated area, just based on the areas, square miles, just in the amount of people that we have packed in here. I just wanted to make sure it's fair, so I'm just going to put it out to the council that we should probably know that answer. Thank you.
So the county is a member on that agency. And so and I'm not sure, Effie, did you have anything else to add to that? Not sure if she's on here. I don't know if Effie's on here, if she can comment at all. So
Hi,
Assistant
can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Effie Verducci. I'm the Assistant Director for the department, and thank you for giving us the time tonight to come to you with a preview of our rate plan, and then thank you for the opportunity unmute and speak to the question. So South Bay Waste Management Authority is an 11-member JPA. The county is 1 member, and then we represent 2 districts. One district is NFO by itself, and then the other district is the county franchised area, which includes the remaining 10 pockets of unincorporated, unfranchised areas in the county. So NFO, as its own district, has a specific allocation by SBWMA of the overall costs. So NFO would not be, NFO's costs would not be reflecting other less populated areas or other parts of the county. While we have 1 seat at the table, we represent 2 distinct districts, if that makes sense. And then I'll add, what Regina mentioned is basically SBWMA has a formula where they allocate these costs in to each of the member jurisdictions. And that formula is kind of set by them. We don't have a big say in that at all. And then in terms of the rate increases compared to the other cities, the other members of the JPA, from my recollection, and I don't know, Anthony, if you have the tables handy, but we were somewhere in the middle. Both CFA and NFO were not at the lowest rate increase, but certainly not in the highest tier as well.
And a follow-up to that, this is Kelly, thank you for that, but what's the delta? So I understand you're talking about an increase, but are we starting, are we comparable, which was Kathleen's original question, are we comparable in rates with other members of this committee? I understand our increases are comparable. I'm curious, where are we all starting at?
We have not done that study this year. We did that last year. And so why don't we take away an action item to put some of those other rates together for you? And everybody's going through this process at the same time. So it might be in December or January once it's gone through their city councils. But we'd be happy to report back to this group at a later time with what the approved rate increases are for the other members. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, as long as it includes what they're currently paying. Like, I understand our increase.
Yes, the dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilman Blip.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. I'm a renter, so I don't pay the garbage. It's included in my rent. But it sure affects the landlord's pricing and such. I had actually the picture of 2019 where you were raising the rates, and I remember you did a staggered increase then, just like you're proposing now to lessen the burden. It was an interesting slide. Could you back up and the proposed rates for resident card service? I was looking at the numbers from 2019. Yeah, I just want to jot down that 28,196 and 2682. And that compares to 25,194 and 2401. I think that gives us it's a way of understanding how many real households there are. I think we've grown a little bit. I appreciate also the recology program and shoreways. I've gotten compost, do gardening around the apartment complex. I did not know mattresses were free. You just got to get it on top of the roof of the car and get it there. I think in the past when we've had community cleanup days, people have been able to bring out big items because it's kind of a hassle as an apartment dweller to get everyone to do that bulk item pickup, coordinate it with the landlord. And sometimes it's an informal housing situation where, you're renting a room or a couch and you don't want to dump it on the curb. And it feels like the curbside dumping has gone down the last few years. and the click and report it thing is working pretty well. So I thank you for your presentation, and overall, I feel like we're getting good service with the collection, both of the recycling bins that I have to drag out to the curb because someone else in the building does it, and then the garbage. Yeah, so it's not really a question, so.
Are there any other questions or comments from council?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a question for Anthony. When I look at the chart, I see, essentially due to COVID, we had no rate increases and we've had pretty high rate increases over the last couple of years. To my mind, to make up for that, are we on a path to where the future rate increases will tie somewhat better to the CPI? We'll get back down into that 4 or 5% rate, or are we looking at 10, 11, 12 for the foreseeable future?
Sorry, could you repeat the last part of the question?
Oh, I was just asking if we're given the fact that we appear to be catching up and making up for the years where we had 0 rate increases, looking forward, might we possibly be getting down back into single digits, mid-single digits, given that we seem to have caught up in terms of cost recovery from the 0 increase COVID years?
Yeah. So yeah, the double digit increases were really because of that new Shoreway Environmental Center processing agreement that expired. They went out for RFP. They got a new contractor in, and the cost for that new operator were significantly higher than the previous one. So that's what kind of caused this 2-year double-digit increase. But in a normal year, yes, we do expect just kind of CPI single-digit increases.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
If no other council members, I have a question. For how long has Northborough been part of the JPA?
Good question.
Yeah.
It's been it's been quite a while, before it came to our department, which would have been in 2014. Anthony, do you have history prior to that?
No, not the exact year, but we've probably been a member since it was first incorporated, which goes back years.
1989 or 1990, I think I have a resolution from there.
Okay, maybe early next year, like you said, most municipalities are going through this December and January. So maybe either February or March, maybe we'd like to have this matter come to us, and maybe you can show us the projection, maybe the last 10 years from 2014, since Northborough has been a member of JPA until now. So maybe 2014 to 2024, and see where we are with that. And I also, just for the record, the renters that are out there, you might not be paying the garbage directly, but trust me, you are paying it indirectly. The rates are there. So it is concerning for everyone, whether you are a homeowner or a renter. Are there any other comments or questions from? No. Okay, well, thank you so much for your information. We look forward to seeing or hearing from you early next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments regarding this specific item in the agenda?
If you wish to comment on agenda item number 5, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. We'll be granted 2 minutes to speak at the time your name is called. Any public comments? Teacher.
No comments. Okay, having been no comments, and we'll move on to our next agenda, item 6, which is our informational item regarding a Middlefield Junction update.
Thank you for having me again. I'm Amy Colossus, project manager for Middleville Junction. I thought I'd give an overall, from the project again, for the new members, just so we're all on the same page. So I'm part of Mercy Housing in California, the developer of the project. Our architect is BA Architects with our contractor RO. We are funded and sponsored by San Mateo County, and we are working with Lakewood Studio as a local partner. Mercy Housing Management Group will be our property manager, and Mercy Housing California will be our resident services. So overall, we have 179 units, split between 2 buildings. This is a combination of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. So we're about 27% 1 bedrooms, 45% 2 bedrooms, and 28% 3 bedrooms. So all units are targeted for families, aiming between 15 to 80% AMI. And of these 179 units, 20 of them are reserved for homeless individuals. So as I said, this project consists of 2 buildings, one of 5 stories over a podium and another of 4 stories over a commercial and community space. The community space and commercial space are in building A, which include a early education center and the community center that I mentioned before. The child care center will be operated by Peninsula Family Service and will be servicing approximately 30 infants and toddlers. The community space is intended to be an open rental space for the immediate and surrounding community. And we are envisioning it to be a flexible programmatic space that communicates for a variety of events and services. Additionally, we do have a lot of open spaces throughout the project. That is a combination of open spaces, playgrounds, and garden spaces. And right now, we currently have about 0.7 parking spaces per unit. So based out of pure memory, that's about 150 little spots. So this is just a further breakdown of the population and unit mix. So again, it's 179 units total. Excellent. And this is an, oh, this is really great to see, but this is the unit layouts. So the biggest update, I guess, is we're all aware we had a pretty massive fire back in June of this year. So that has shifted a lot of the things that we are working on, but essentially right now where we stand, we are expecting to complete building A in April 25, which is our original delivery date. Building B is currently going through some major repairs, but we have restarted framing construction 2 weeks ago. So we're getting back on track to where we were before, but now we're expecting to deliver in early February 2026. We are getting a lot of speed with framing right now, just because this is something that we went through already. So we've become very efficient this round. So we've already gained almost 15 days to this date. So we're anticipating getting closer to the January delivery date. But also we have these rains that we weren't expecting. And for the security of our on-site staff, we may have to remove or shut down for a couple of days or so to ensure everybody's safety. Because of the fire, our lease-up marketing has shifted quite a bit. So currently we're talking with the fire department and as well as the building department to see if we can start marketing building A before building B to ensure we have homes to deliver sooner than everybody seems as well as lighting fixtures. All elevator components are inside the building, so once we're ready to go and install as soon as we're able. So I just wanted to give a more detail as to where we are with building B in the repairs. So we're approaching this in a 3-area approach. So currently, area 3, which is the green, area 1, the red are the least minimal, no impact of the fire. The fire was mainly located on the 5th floor of the blue, area 2, and that's where our consultants and our engineers and others are performing other improvements and repairs. So currently, building A has framing up to level 2. So we're progressing really quickly in area A. Red is really quick right behind it. So as I mentioned, we've gone through this whole building process already, we've answered questions over the stuff, so we're progressing very fast. So I just wanted to give, the project manager texted me at 7 in the morning to say that first walls are going up, and that was I was really excited because it was devastating when we had all the rubble and all the fire outcome, so it was sign. And this is a view from the crane down into the building. This was again last week when I submitted the presentation. So afterwards I can show you more than happy to share that. Questions?
Thank you so much, council members. Any questions? Kathleen?
First, thank you so much for your passion for this project. I thought of you as I stood on Fair Oaks Avenue and watched that smoke, and you had just been here and you did the presentation, and your passion for this project shows up so nicely, so thank you for that. I'm not sure it's necessarily a housing issue, but we did learn a lot from that fire, and I'm wondering if we're looking at any of the other problems that came up or things that were brought up that maybe need to be addressed. And I think one of the big things that was part of the history of this getting built was entry and exit. And what we learned about whether or not there was adequate room to get in and out, adequate room for not only the residents that live there, but fire trucks. So I know that there was a lot going on, and I'm just wondering, do you have an update on that, or should we talk to maybe others in the county about what we learned? Because I think the one thing, the residents of Pacific Avenue were affected, but then also, do we need an exit out the back somehow? And we need to purchase land, like how do we make that happen, and sort of where we're at with that?
Yeah. I'll try to answer that as best as I can. So when the fire happened, it was on June 3rd at 10:15 a.m. We had about 130 people on site actively working. Within about 7 minutes, we had everybody outside. We had no incidents, no losses. It was all material, which is so we're very happy that that was a result of us planning how to lay out the buildings and the construction. The fire department's main issue and main challenge going on site was there isn't permanent water on site, but they resolved that by going across the tracks and getting permanent water from that source and also from Middlefield. So we had full water. Unfortunately, we had the first A-class fire of San Diego County, so we all learned a lot. So the fire department has shared their learnings, and I didn't share that with you all on what they did. So they have provided a document that has a play-by-play of everything they did, what they're learning from that experience, and what they projected to do moving forward. Unfortunately, I've been checking with Marshall Johnson almost on a weekly basis, and they're still investigating the fire. So there's no, I don't know the cause and don't have any real idea. He told me that he is trying really hard to get it to me or to everyone by the end of this month. Yeah, I said that before. So I'm optimistic, but not relying on that heavily. So all to say, when I met with the Marshall, when I attended the community meetings with the neighbors and also with the neighbors on Pacific Avenue, considering the circumstances, we did really well. Absolutely. Yeah, I was shocked that we had a building that was 35 feet away and it was unscathed, like building A was unscathed, no smoke damage, nothing, which was phenomenal. And that day in particular was extra windy, and we had just finished installing windows of building B, had like a tornado wind effect within it, so it contained all the fire within the building, but it went really quick. because of the wind, but it did push it towards the rail tracks, so we got minimal damage. Anything that was immediately dangerous, we repaired. But I know from heavily insurance, and until that fire report is released, we can't really activate our insurance. We did discuss other options during our community meetings, so we should be very aware, everybody has my number, they can text me, they can email, they can more than welcome to email me. I've connected periodically with the neighbors on Pacific Avenue, because I understand that they're the ones that were impacted the most. And up to now, I haven't heard anything that requires my action or attention to. Everybody seems to be content of just doing investigation to be concluded.
You know, I think we're in great work, no, that not from that standpoint at all. I'm just concerned, whether or not a good traffic study was done to know that that is a very tricky entrance and exit. You've got, of course, the businesses in the back. We've got now the Fair Oaks Community Center. We've got 150 potential new cars coming in and out. And I just wonder if we need to take a closer look at the timing of that light that we're waiting for PG&E. I'm starting to get a little nervous about what the impact is gonna look like, because there's a lot of traffic going a whole bunch of different ways at that particular intersection, and it's not Mercy's fault or problem. So I'm just wondering from a council or county perspective, do we need to really understand what traffic patterns are gonna look like at that particular junction? And that's not for you to answer, but
I could try to.
yeah,
get a little bit.
okay.
When we were designing this project, we did collaborate with the county and fire department to make sure we did not have studies. We had turning radius analysis done with the fire department and got approved. So they were evaluating this as if the building was 100% occupied. And so we have a plan in place, and that was the plan that was executed by fire happened. Unfortunately, we had all the crews trucks already in the podium, so when the fire happened, all the trucks got stuck within the podium itself. But again, we executed the plan, and within 7 minutes, everybody 100%. So this was an unfortunate test trial that went really well. So I think we have a pretty strong plan in place, but more than happy to share that plan with you if you want to. Get a closer
Yeah,
look.
you know, it's more along the lines of, DPW, the timing of that light that we need. That's where I'm going, and that's not Mercy's problem. So, yeah, I'm thinking of being at that intersection, coming from Costco or coming down Middlefield Road, and kind of like really match up with all the traffic, and that can be an incredibly busy intersection, especially on Friday night. So, yeah, I think it's something that council needs to.
Of course.
Councilmember Kelly, you had your hand up first.
And I don't know if it's a you question, but I'm actually curious, as you mentioned, that you're gonna start marketing, leasing these apartments. What does that process look like? Because I'm sure there's gonna be overwhelming demand for these, and what that process and who runs that.
So it's run by Mercy Housing Management Group in partnership with the county. So right now, I myself am gonna start reaching out to like Ever and Lucy and all the people I've met through the community meetings, and sort of reaching out, being like, hey, you're about to gear up this thing, this lease up process. So I want to be aware of everyone that I need to connect with, so they know that when we release applications, everybody has a fair shot at it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gathering information. Also, we've had a website active this whole time, and on that website, you can put in your email and your phone number, and you get a blast with any updates on the project when it comes to the lease up and marketing. So we're trying to, be as open. We were thinking about putting ads in the newspaper as well, just to ensure again full coverage of the publicity of this project.
Councilmember Blair, you had your hand up.
Yeah, it's on the same topic. There were a ton of people really interested. How do I sign up? When this was being first approved, like 5 years ago or whatever, everyone was like, how do I get on the list? I want to get on the list. And now we got this weird situation where people are gonna apply like by December or April for one building, and then could you refresh me on the timeline?
So we're starting to put our team together in December to start the
Okay.
marketing process. So that's me marketing material, who we're reaching out to. So we're just getting our troops together essentially. So the real push is gonna happen, it's gonna be in January. So that's when we are pushing all our marketing material, reaching out to all organizations. So if we get permanent water and the fire department and the building department are comfortable with us occupying building A, then us completing, we intend to complete in April of 2025. So if we get those departments blessing that we can move a person in by April. That's like in the perfect world. But we're gonna go through this whole iterative process with the county and our partners to ensure that we have an equitable process.
I just want to share a perspective. I've been a consumer of public housing systems and all that, and it can be frightening, it can be confusing, and it's like you see one announcement and there's a deadline, and then waitlist closed and you're SOL for that, you know? And most of these things they put on El Camino, there's like 1 or 2 units, and then one gets on the list, and it's a nightmare. There was no guarantee that North Faro residents or people that work here would have any sort of priority, but can we make up for that in the marketing to make sure that if someone's been renting on Pacific Avenue or any of the neighborhoods on both sides of the train tracks, and they've been struggling to pay market rate or whatever, that they have a shot, a decent shot, like a priority shot at getting this public housing assistance, because it's rare that we can bring something like this online, and this is the biggest project in a long time, and people have been putting up with a lot between Middlefield Road being rebuilt and all the pain and suffering and the dislocation and the economic displacement and gentrification. And there's people that are, you know, they've moved out, and there's others that are just hanging on barely. And I want to make sure that we give them a real shot at getting a unit for them, their kids, whatever. So Ever's a great resource. I'm not an expert. I'm a consumer, and I see usually the blip and maybe a flyer at the library. And if I'm lucky, the deadline hasn't passed and I apply, I never get anything, but I'm grateful for what I do have. But I want to make sure that the folks that have been living and working here for years get a real shot at those units, and that's just not filled up by people from elsewhere in the county. Can I ask again, is there any way we can guarantee that people that live or work get a priority? Like a certain number, like 40% of the units would.
Yeah. I mean,
I keep asking, but they
yeah.
keep saying
I
no.
mean, I will reiterate that I'm doing my best effort to connect with local organizations to focus in this communities, and we have been working with the communications director within the city of Redwood City and also the unincorporated. So beyond, currently, all I can say is send whoever is very interested to the website, they can input their information, and the moment any information is released, there's gonna be a blast to everyone. So, yeah.
And I just want to throw a couple of comments on the record. I think that we do need to improve the circulation. We talked about a bridge across the train tracks, and that turned out to be like way too expensive. But Pacific Avenue is like a Berlin Wall there, and it's totally worth it to look at buying a parcel and creating a throughway, even if it's just pedestrian and cyclists. And maybe even connecting all the way up here to the North Fields Library and Community Center, paralleling the train tracks, because you don't want to push everyone out into the street. It'd be nice, residents love to have multiple choices. And like when I want to go, if I can go behind Target and take that street underneath Woodside, people just like that, give them choices. And I know it has nothing to do with diversity housing, but just on the record, we need more circulation options rather than just a single driveway in the field, and that's something we can look at in the future.
Thank you. Any other council members? Please.
I have a few questions. How does the application differ for those who, I guess, are applying for the regular units versus the for the house population?
So for the unhoused population, we are working directly with Housing Authority and the county, and they have their process. Because we applied to the state for funding with the county, so that's a collaboration with those 20 units. For the remaining, we're going through a lottery system, again, partnership with.
For the unhoused units, is it like a temporary or is it permanent?
From
Do you guys have paper applications for this one in Texas?
and also multiple languages.
Kathleen, did you have another follow-up?
Just help you with the boots on the ground to make sure that North Borough, so we should be helping you do that.
Yeah, more than happy to collaborate. I would love to collaborate.
Any other council member? Any comments, questions? I would like to thank you again for the presentation, and I know that we're bringing up a lot of similar concerns that we raised last time you were here. And I will again raise the same concern I did last time. And that is, my concern is for you mentioned that particularly the day of the fire, there's over 100 people working there. My concern is, how much of the labor or companies that subcontract for the project are local companies that are from the North Oaks area? Do you have any kind of idea?
I don't have the data on me right now, but I do know that it is a stipulation to our general contractor to prioritize local force before going beyond. There. We have stats on it, I just don't have it.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
can share those stats, being like how much is local force, how much we need to go further. Our focus is to, use a local workforce.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like information on that. And then moving forward as the project continues to develop, and will continue to need labor moving forward, especially from a maintenance perspective, whether it's indoor or outdoor. So I just kind of want to continue to emphasize that the importance of that, just because it's an emphasis of our importance of our council to continue to support our local businesses in North Oaks, and so we would like to see that. And also, since you have the projection here of April 2025, that would be great if at some point, if the council could maybe do a little walkthrough, or, you know, when the time is right, you know, to do that, because we, as council members have expressed, we want to continue to, you know, be involved and participate as much as, you know, you allow us to, and to do that moving forward. So please keep that in mind.
Get that, just for my edification, who do I coordinate that? With Chet, you know, individually, or like, you know, with Bo, or?
Yeah, Bo is a great person to do that.
Yeah, definitely, when we're ready to be forward to the buildings, up there, we can just reach out.
Well, thank you so much. No other comments or concerns? Are there any public comments regarding this specific agenda item?
If you wish to comment on agenda item number 6, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. We'll be granted 2 minutes to speak. Are there any public comments? No, back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, we will then move on to our next agenda item and our last agenda item, which is a motion to approve a resolution to honor Supervisor Slocum. And before I open this to a council member's comment, I do want to express to answer the great idea that he had to do this resolution. I think it's great. 12 years of service, Supervisor Slocum, to our community, in particular this project that was just presented. I know that he was very much involved in that project. I mean, so many things and everything. Our library that we have here, the transition that was made for that continued management of our public library here. So many projects. 12 years of his service is a lot. So I'm glad that we have here a resolution with the name of our council members here. So I would like to open the mic up for any comments, expressions, anything you would like to say regarding this matter. Any other council members? Blair?
I think he's a great guy. He's like the unofficial mayor of North Fair Oaks, and he's a fellow Army veteran. he didn't make it up to the veterans luncheon, but he started that. He's touched so many lives in so many different ways. He's got like 3 terms on the board of supervisors. Before that, he was like clerk reporter. I mean, he's kind of a role model showing that you can remake your life and get into public service. And it's gonna be sad to lose that because, you know, sometimes people get caught up not in stewardship and not in service, but more in posturing and politics. And I hope to see someone step forward with civility like that in the future. He's a very thoughtful man, and his remarks are always insightful before the supervisors. So I'm grateful for him having appointed me when I applied and whatnot.
Thank you. Any other council members would like to comment? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead. Just a few of the things, I mean, in my time on the council, it's been 3 or 4 years now, and the things that Supervisor Slocum has really driven, the creation of the North Fair Oaks Community Plan, which has been kind of a guidepost for us in terms of the things that we work on in the development of our community. Obviously, the Millfield Road Improvement Project. In response to the COVID pandemic, Supervisor Slocum obtained $1 million of funding to assist our North Fair Oaks community businesses. And finally, he was the driving force behind the Millfield Junction housing complex. He's been a role model, a mentor, and a source of really great information for me. I miss him in this role, so I don't like it.
I will always be super grateful for the couple of days that we worked together on the Middlefield Road Small Business Project. And I remember sitting with him and staff and a number of the business owners and listening to some super painful conversations, listening to some of the stories, and to have him sit there and listen and take it all in and go back and do something so wonderful for the small businesses. And forever grateful. So as a former small business owner, I know what that meant to those business owners. And I think it's just going to go down in my history books as watching someone do something so amazing in public service. So super grateful for him putting me on board on his council and just for everything he's done. Happy to sign in.
Any other council members would like to share anything? Please, Billy.
I won't be redundant and say all of the wonderful things, but I have said this to him in a forum like this as well as privately. He is the unofficial mayor of North Fair Oaks, and he has deep roots in the North Fair Oaks community, and he was incredibly thoughtful was the word, and I would echo that. And also accessible, and that is something that you don't often see in elected officials, and I think that we are really going to miss that, and he is incredibly huge shoes to fill, and I'm incredibly grateful for him giving me a voice and working with me on what I thought was a big deal in my community, but is one of many things going on in North Fair Oaks, but he made me feel just as important as Middlefield Junction, and I will always be grateful.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, are there any public comments regarding this agenda item?
If you wish to comment on agenda item number 7, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring it to speakership up to the clerk during this time. You'll be granted 2 minutes to speak. Are there any public comments on Zoom or in person? No? Chair.
Okay, thank you. Well, that takes us then to our report outs. Sorry.
Yeah,
We need
So
to
we make a motion.
introduce a
Sorry,
motion.
this is a motion move to approve. So can I have a motion?
So, all in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Yes, we do need a motion to approve. Thank you. Okay, now we can.
No, Supervisor Slocum isn't here today, but one of his ledgers are here, so we can. Would like to read what's on the resolution. Joshua from District 4. receive it for supervisor.
Example. Oh, I'll read, you allow me. Whereas Supervisor Warren Slocum has served the residents of San Mateo County for 36 years. Brazos County Assessor, Reporter, Chief Elections Officer, and County Supervisor for the last 12 years representing District 4. And whereas upon graduation from high school, Supervisor Slocum enlisted in the Army, served 1 year in Vietnam, and was honorably discharged in 1969. And whereas Supervisor Slocum championed the causes of veterans and was instrumental in the creation of San Mateo County Veterans Commission. And whereas Supervisor Slocum took particular interest in the community of North Fair Oaks and the issues of interest of its residents. And whereas Supervisor Slocum was instrumental in the creation of North Fair Oaks Community Plan, which has guided the advancement and development of the community. And whereas Supervisor Slocum drove Middlefield Road Improvement Project design and improved the traffic flow and add to the community. Whereas in response to the COVID pandemic, Supervisor Slocum obtained funding of $1 million to assist North Oaks community businesses. And whereas Supervisor Slocum addressed the issue of affordable housing in North Fair Oaks by championing the Meadowfield Junction Housing Complex. And whereas now therefore it resolved that North Fair Oaks Community Council honors Supervisor Warren Slocum for his service to the San Mateo County, the community of North Fair Oaks, dated November 21st, and North Fair Oaks Council names here. So we'll have the opportunity, it's framed now, but we can sign it once we remove it from the frames. Thank you very much. Okay, we will now go on to the report outs. Do we have any from the District 4? Is there any reports out or information? Please, thanks. Amazing.
Good evening, council members. On behalf of Supervisor Slocum, Veterans Luncheon. Earlier this month, our office helped host the 9th annual Veterans Luncheon. During this event, Congressman issued recognizes people here. While Supervisor Warren Slocum received a Lifetime Achievement Award. Additionally, District 4's very own Bob Hoover, a resident of East Palo Alto, was honored as this year's veteran. And for branding, last month, the county and district office hired a consultant to in-house strategy to develop a recognizable brand identity for North Fair Oaks. This initiative aims to strengthen the system.
Sorry, can you speak into the mic, Joshua? Thank you. Get louder.
This initiative aims to strengthen the sense of community and residents and small businesses while raising awareness and consuming confidence in the program. As of this month, in-house strategy has made significant progress by engaging the community stakeholders. They have conducted 30 meetings, both virtually and in person, and distributed numerous surveys. Insights from these efforts will inform the North Fair Oaks brand platform, design, and promotional materials, and marketing strategy. Draft materials are expected by this. Parking update on Redwood Road to address parking challenges caused by the new bus stop. Councilmember Brooks 2 minutes ago. Public Works is proposing changes based on feedback from businesses to or modify several parking spaces near these bus stops to allow for 20-minute parking between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They plan to present this proposal to the board on December 2. Nearby residents and businesses will be notified of this proposal and efficient feedback. New planning and building service rates, on Tuesday's board meeting. Board approved 15.5% increase in planning and building fees to align with how sales. This fee adjustment will take effect in January. That same meeting, board introduced an ordinance for the sunset clause of 2028 to amend the county charter, granting supervisors the power to remove a sheriff or cause. This is response to an investigation to the sheriff's office, which uncovers several wrongdoings by sheriffs and our chief of staff, Victor Island. The ordinance is approved during the second reading on December 3. The proposal will appear on March 4th. Ballot for board approval and consent. And for additional information, investigation or full report and related press materials that have been his office has created like a dedicated website that I can share with you all.
Thank you. Any comment, Blair?
No, it's not much, Chair. I just thought about parking. I just want to throw out that it'd be great if one of the public lots had an EV charger or two. Just throwing it on the record that it would be nice, because not everyone has like the home hookup. We got different apartment dwellers, and IKEA converted a bunch of ground level space to Tesla superchargers. I see it like a Best Buy in San Carlos. I don't think there's anything directly in our community, but I think people would use it. And it would be a good trial to try to get at least one or two at one of the public lots. Thanks.
Providing up to maybe up
Okay, any other comments?
Thank you.
All right, is there any other report out from? Okay, council members, well, I'll go down the list from the council members who are present. Blair, any report out to this evening?
I was super impressed by the county veterans thing. I had never gone before and actually bought a $60 ticket and I got my money's worth. It was actually a super good lunch. They had like good dessert. They didn't gouge us on the parking, they validated. And the speaker, the lady from the Naval Postgraduate School, had like really thoughtful remarks, and as she was like really down to earth. And it was like a really good crowd of people that honestly cared about their community. And it wasn't all veterans, it was just community groups and some veterans scattered at the tables, but it was just a real touching event. And I'm grateful for the supervisor for starting that in 2016. And now I got something to look forward to each year to actually, spend $60 and support community I care about. Thanks.
Excellent. Any, Kathleen? Report out this evening, Kelly?
I wish Public Works was here, because Brooks and I were talking about this at the beginning. Lottie has just been such a great contractor doing street work, so I'll send an email to them directly, but that's the only thing.
Okay, Brooks.
Yeah, to add on to what Kelly just mentioned, I'm on 16th Avenue and the reconstruction of our street was done within the last month. And, I just want to give a public shout out to Ian Stillman, Director of Public Works, Christopher Sy, who's the Assistant Director, and Lindsay Wing, who's the Project Manager. It looks fabulous. We have a new street with gutters and It's like bring on winners, the puddles are gonna be gone this year, and I can't wait to see them, so publicly thank all of those people who worked on that project, they've done terrific work.
Okay, well, I would, Kelly, just to let you know, the next, month, January, when we reconvene, because this is our last meeting of the year, we will have a study session in January 16th. And then, Thursday after is our regularly scheduled meeting in January. We will have public work here, giving a presentation on some traffic concerns that, it's been going on for a while on Fair Oaks Avenue. So you will have the opportunity to address them personally here. So that takes me to this point, that this is our last scheduled, meeting of the year. We'll reconvene in, January.
We can break for this.
All right. There are no other concerns or comments? We will move to them. Aye. Aye.